Good. You're back. Excellent.
Back and healthy.
That's good.
Where did you go?
To Colorado.
Oh, how lovely.
Nice.
It was nice. We saw some lifelong friends and had a lovely time.
Good.
Thanks.
Did you buy cookies?
Cookie.
Was I supposed to buy cookies?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
They sound good right now.
I know. Did you bring us anything? No.
I can leave the meeting and start delivery.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Okay.
don't do that.
So we're hot on YouTube, friends.
All right. Good. Good to know. Okay. And we
Yeah.
have to make it more entertaining. People aren't going to tune in. I tuned into the finance meeting and it said underneath the whole time, one person is watching. That was me.
And that was you?
That was me. Yes.
No, there were more people watching.
On Zoom, but not on YouTube.
Oh
was
yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
I know. Apparently not a big hit.
I mean,
So.
it was scintillating information.
And I think having the spreadsheet as the ad for it is really good because it just shows the spreadsheet. Because who doesn't want to tune into a meeting with spreadsheet? Right?
I mean, we talked about sidewalks and
Wait, the thumbnail for it is just a spreadsheet?
It's a spreadsheet, exactly. It just is a
Oh,
spreadsheet.
that's clickbait right there.
It's like we should put it on for like
Uh-oh,
one of the
everybody
sleep
froze.
channels, you know, to let people go to sleep at night. So-
You have both, but I will go and resend. Yeah, I'll keep you on the line.
we have
That's okay.
1, 2, 3,
That one comes about
4, 5.
6:45. This one was started at 6. I put a quote unquote time at 6:45 so people would come early. Yeah, of course. Yep. Give me 2 seconds. Bye.
The mayor joined the wrong Zoom session.
Yes, we are going to get that fixed up.
Oh,
I didn't
boy.
realize I was unmuted, but that's okay.
That's all right. I just got an email from Zoom saying somebody needs help.
Oh, Zoom, you're so helpful.
Not this morning.
I heard it. Was,
Oh, it was bad this morning.
okay,
yeah,
my
I-
friends, it is 7
Those-
o'clock. Oh, we're waiting on the mayor still, right? Sorry.
Let's
Yes,
see.
give us a moment.
I heard all of that and then I was ready to start the meeting. I'm sorry.
Oh, Zoom, how could I stay
Okay.
mad at you?
He's getting on. He has the.
He's on now.
I'm here.
Hello, hello. Okay, my
Aaron,
friend.
I need a second to queue up the pledge.
Okay. Well, I will talk for a second while you queue. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, August 24th, and I call this regular council meeting to order. As we get started tonight, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And as you are probably aware, there were some widespread Zoom outages this morning. Should those impact us tonight, we will have to pause the meeting if we lose any members of council or our law director, because we can't keep going without those folks on here. We will, for some reason, if we do get connected, we'll spend about 20 minutes trying to reconnect. If after 20 minutes we can't get a reconnection, we will have to just end the meeting and then, oops, Christy.
Sorry about that.
We'll have to end the meeting and then reschedule another time to finish any legislative items that are outstanding.
Well done.
Okay, now that we all have that disclaimer,
Aaron, would you mind restating the official start time of the meeting?
yes, it was 7 o'clock p.m. on Monday, August 24th.
Thank you very much.
Okay. To kick off our meeting tonight, we have the famous kindergarten teacher from Gurnee, Mrs. Gebler, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It felt very apropos. So Christy, whenever you're ready, we're good.
I will. Just a moment. Thank you.
Sorry, Christy, I caught you off guard.
That's okay. I will figure it out.
maybe we have to throw the seal a fish.
No, I will get this. Here we go. Screen share. Sorry, it took a moment. Here we go. And the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much to the Gebler family for leading us today. There's my camera. Okay, next up, I'd like to ask the Clerk of Council, Mr. Bloom, to please do the roll call for tonight's meeting.
Okay, DiBernardo,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Grube,
Here.
Newell,
Here.
Rocky,
Here.
Rogoff,
Here.
Weigel.
Okay, everyone should have received a copy of the minutes for August 10th. Were there any changes or modifications?
No.
Seeing none, can I please have a motion to approve the minutes from August 10th?
Also move.
Motion by Evans.
Second.
Oh, second by Weigel. Roll call, please.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Newell,
Same.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Weigel.
Aye.
Report of the mayor.
Thank you. I just have one, I just have one item tonight, and it's good news. We received our interest rate on our phase 1 borrowings from OEPA, and we're paying 0.3%. So that's 30 basis points. And I believe, and Tim, jump in if you have a better recollection, but I believe we projected 1 or 1.25%. So it's a substantial savings over what we had projected. And whatever the yearly savings is, 10,000, 20,000, it'll be multiplied by 20 years. So it's not insignificant at all. So that was good news. That's all I have to report tonight. Oh, you got it, Tim?
No, I just wish I spoke the same language as you. I don't speak the finance, but it's 0.03%.
That's what I
Wow.
said, 30 basis points.
Effectively,
3 basis points.
I'll call that 3 basis points.
Three,
then.
not-
Oh, 3 basis points.
No,
Excuse me. I
zero.
thought it was 0.3 of 1%, the way I had it written. Sorry about that.
No, that's me, and I constantly do that with.
Yeah, well, so anyhow, basically this amounts to free money because we will pay it off at basically a negative interest rate and do it over 20 years. So that's even better news than I said. But I believe, Tim, do you remember what we projected? Was it 1 or 1.25%?
Yeah, 1.2.
Yeah, so we projected 1.2. So we're saving we're saving virtually the whole 1.2% and saving that over 20 years. So it's quite a substantial amount.
Fantastic. I love good news like that.
Yes, we all do.
Anything else, Mayor?
No, that's my report tonight.
Report of the Finance Director, Mr. Bloom.
I have no report tonight, Madam President.
And do we have any members of the public for our legislative item?
We do not.
Okay. In that case, Mr. Markowitz.
Thank you. We have one item on the legislative docket. Ordinance number 2020-36, an ordinance to create definitions for dangerous and vicious dogs and to regulate the keeping of such dogs within the village of Chagrin Falls and amending section 505.01 of the codified ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Okay, this is coming to us from the Safety Committee. Mr. Rocky?
So this was brought to our attention about a year and a half, or not a year and a half, about a month and a half ago, it feels like, due to some dogs that we have in the village that are currently causing problems. They're getting out and thankfully not attacking people, but they are attacking other pets that live in the neighborhood. And we've been asked by the residents to take a look at what we could do to kind of give the police a little bit more power to regulate and basically prosecute these dogs in instances where they do attack other dogs, or in an instance where they would attack another individual. So this is a pretty big change from what we had. The police chief and Markowitz have done a great job of going through a couple of different cities' codes and kind of cherry picking the best items and putting it together. So Chief Dasik, do you have anything to add to this, to what I said?
Yeah, I mean, so basically what we've realized is that our ordinances, even in comparison to the Ohio Revised Code, are lacking some things that should have been updated. And just in looking at some other, other municipalities have ordinances that are better suited to dealing with ongoing situations. So the purpose of this is not necessarily to give us more teeth with, you're going to have instances where a dog misbehaves, but what we were not prepared to deal with from our ordinances is where you have repeated offenses. So this is kind of cleaning that up a little bit.
And this isn't to deal with a dog that gets out and just runs amok in the neighborhood, slips through his fence, gets off his leash, busts out the door, and is just running around. This is to deal with dogs that are actually attacking other dogs or pets or people, right? So that's a key thing to remember, is that we're just strengthening our laws about people, dogs that are attacking other dogs. Or
we already have an ordinance in place that addresses dogs just running loose. And the new proposed ordinance here still addresses that situation, but again, it's not changing it from what it already was for that particular offense.
If I can jump in, Mr. Rocky, there's a couple other things we did. We added some due process rights for the dog owner. And we have an appeal process and a hearing and then jurisdiction with the court, which we didn't have before. But we also have definitions for dangerous and vicious dogs, which we had not implemented for ourselves. And then we found between some other communities the best of what they had and implemented that. So the chief has practical solutions for these matters, including the ability to take a dog and have it housed in a kennel. You could even be the owner's kennel of choice. She has that discretion. And we added that the chief can designate somebody to act in her stead as well.
Yeah, so that was one of our big worries. The chief was going to have to physically go out and get the dog. She can designate a dog catcher of, hire a company or send, they can send a private company or a couple of officers to go get the dog. It doesn't just have to be the chief of police. There was a lot of conversation along that line.
So if I'm reading this, if you have a dog that's vicious or dangerous in section 2B, they can only leave the property in a certain type of leash or chain and when they're muzzled, correct?
Correct.
Correct. And it has to be with somebody who's over the age of 18, correct?
It doesn't say that.
Does it not say that?
They have to be under the control of a person. So if it's the person who is caring for the dog at that time has to be somebody that's capable of doing so.
That's right.
So for those of you who maybe looked at this and thought there was some, these ordinances regarding dogs, especially if you look at the ORC and after reading through several different municipalities, they become very redundant and they start to get a little confusing. Mm-hmm. And what Mr. Markowitz has done is section 2 refers to dogs that have already been deemed dangerous and or vicious, right? So, and then there's those definitions in there. So that's a situation where the police department has issued a written notice to this person saying your dog is being deemed a dangerous dog. They have the opportunity to appeal it if they want to. That's the due process. Once that dog is designated dangerous or vicious, then those owners are subjected to these additional requirements, not only at their property, but also when they take the dog off the property. So that's really what section 2 is referring to.
Okay.
Something else we didn't have before, we do now, is we have the ability to have a dog either removed permanently from the village or destroyed. And that gives the chief a lot more capability of solving what could be long-term problems.
And if they move from the village or they move into the village, let's say from Cleveland Heights where they have a similar ordinance, those definitions or designations, do they transfer
No.
in? So
There's no statewide registry, so we wouldn't know. But even if Cleveland Heights had declared them vicious, we would have to deal with that dog once they come here, and if they cause some action that puts them into one of those categories, we'd have to make our own declaration.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a question more for Dale or Amber, but this is a pretty broad and I think needed piece of legislation. Can someone, and I think we're starting to go there, just give us the highlights, what has changed, what was not there before and is there now? I see section 2, dangerous and vicious dogs, and I know that Amber, your team will determine which dogs are a problem and which aren't, and I understand there's due process there. But does that fall entirely within your group? Is Dale part of that also? Because I can imagine some people that feel like their dog's really not a problem. Who makes that determination? And do we have anything to support that? How can we help you?
So we would make the designation. The police department would make the designation. If the person who owned the dog disagreed with it, they could then appeal it. That would be heard at Bedford Court. But the designation would be based on the definitions there, right? So the police department can't arbitrarily just say, well, I don't like the way that dog looks, so I'm going to call it a dangerous dog. Or we couldn't just say, well, that's a notoriously dangerous breed of animals, so we can't do that. It would have to be based on, it references reported testimonial evidence, eyewitness evidence. Most of the time when there's a dog bite, there's not really usually a dispute about whether it happened or not, because you have the result of that bite. So it's still similar to a criminal investigation, in that we have to show cause as to why we're making that designation. And then if the person disagrees, they would have to then appeal that to the court. We didn't have anything like this at all before or now. Currently, we have nothing. Our current ordinances regarding dogs basically reference them running at large. There is reference to repeat offense dogs in our code, but it stops well short of, I think it requires the dog to have bit another dog something like 3 times in a 3-year period. So we have situations occasionally where a dog will, viciously attack another animal. And if it's not the 3rd time, then it's still not considered dangerous in terms of the Ohio Revised Code. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you. And just in terms of what we can do that we didn't have before to help you, these dogs can now be impounded and up to the process of potentially being destroyed if it's at that level.
Correct. And I'll be the first to say that nobody on the police department wants to see an animal destroyed. So this isn't a way for the police department to just do away with problems. But there has to be remedy that meets the need, right? So hopefully we never have to use that, but God forbid if we did need to use it, we don't have it, then it just makes it more difficult for us to do what we need to do.
It's a last ditch effort. Like, it's the last line of defense.
And even that would not be the police department doing it. That still would be ordered by the court, not the police department.
Okay. And my understanding is we are comfortable leaving this on readings tonight.
Yeah.
Correct.
So do we have any other questions? Otherwise, if not.
The only thing I was going to mention, Mr. Weigel asked, what's new versus what's changed. Section 8 of the ordinance is the only section that existed that we're changing. And you'll see in section 9 how we struck the whoops, I lost it. Section 8 is revised and Section 9 shows how we revised it. Everything else is brand new in there before you get to Section 8.
Thank you.
Okay. Last minute questions, going once, going twice.
It's a complicated one. So have a good read.
Okay, thanks guys. Moving on to council committee reports, and it is only 7:15, my friends. Administration and compensation, Mr. Weibel.
No report this evening. Thank you.
Arts Commission.
The Arts Commission will be hosting a meeting on Zoom on Wednesday night this week at 6 p.m. To get updates from all of the arts organizations on how they're handling performing arts during a pandemic. Apparently the state also recently released regulations on how you can have performing arts during the pandemic. So we'll get to hear how they're adapting to that. Thank you.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
We approved sorry, got my tongue twisted. We approved 2 variances at the last meeting to all to the same property. It's the multi building structures that are going to be over on Cleveland Street on the side of the river. One was to deal with adding some porches onto the front, or a deck onto the front of them, and then one was to deal with their coverage. They're exceeding the coverage amount in the lots.
The Cemetery Commission is myself. We met, I think it was last week. It's kind of blurry here. And we have a couple adjustments for the new columbarium pricing, which we'll bring to you at the next council meeting. We're hoping to take delivery of that in September. Is maybe an optimistic option, but the pricing will be reflected to pay for the next columbarium, just as the previous one paid for the current. So. Communications.
No report tonight.
Facilities and services.
No report tonight.
Finance committee met earlier. Parks Commission.
Oh, you're skipping parking. Okay, Parks. Parks Committee has a meeting Wednesday, September 2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. And then you and Angie talked about Story Walk over the last recently.
We talked about it. There was no resolution that I know. Do you want us to take it back and talk about it at Parks again, or is this something that we just want to give to the mayor and let him resolve it?
Dale, can you weigh in here on the exposure for doing this if it is something that is donated directly to the village? I do believe we have the Friends of the Library and maybe even Ms. Momquist on, and I believe they are willing to donate it to us if that is the best procedure for the village.
I think that's the safest way for the village to do it. It was my recommendation that we take that route, and so I'm comfortable with that. It's like with anything in the law, anybody can sue anybody anytime, and you never know when somebody will make a First Amendment challenge. I think this would be extremely low on the priority list of any, First Amendment public interest groups, because this is based on children's literature that we're going to display in the park. It's not political, it's not commercial, it's just educational, and it's ours, and we'll do with it as we choose and put it up whenever, however, and wherever, and take down whenever. So I think that we're okay doing it. I know many, many communities do it. To my knowledge, no one has ever challenged it. So I can't say there's a case out there that says this is or isn't okay. But it's my view that if we own it and it's our park that we're, or parks that we're putting these pages from books on, that we're permitted to do so, and there would not be repercussions.
So you're saying village property, right?
Yes.
Is that okay? Yeah, and so I mean, I don't know that it needs to go back to the Parks Commission then.
my concern was a legal concern, and if our law director feels comfortable with it and sounds like thinks it's going to be okay, then that's fine from my point of view. And so I would think that Parks Committee would also be in favor of it under those circumstances.
Okay. Any other questions from council? We do have Catherine Mumquist who has her hand raised, if we don't mind taking a comment from the director of the library. Christy, can you let Catherine
I
speak?
will, yes. Catherine, if you can unmute, we're allowing you to speak at this time. I'm working on it. I'll just bring her in as a panelist momentarily. That might help.
Thank you, guys.
Catherine, if you're there, could you give us a sound test? It looks like you're still muted on our end.
I am trying to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been trying for the last couple minutes. I am so sorry. But if you have any questions about what we're talking about picture books, like Sandra Phillipson's, Annie books, or the Shoe Tree books. We're looking, or even Eric Carlson books. We're not talking about anything political. We're not talking about anything. We're talking about families just going around and reading picture books. I don't know what to tell you guys. If you really are concerned, please go to all the other storybook places that are around us. Mayfield, Orange, Solon, they around us, they have these, and they're in public areas.
Do you know which book you guys are thinking of doing? If you don't,
Well, we don't know because and we're waiting for you guys to say yes, but we're looking at Phillipson's Annie books, or the Shoe Tree, or even Molly Gebler's the Balloon Glow.
Okay. So it sounds like from our legal advice that we just got, the way for the village to do this will be for the Friends of the Library to donate the books ready to go to the mayor, and he will then be able to use them he'll be able to have them put up in the park.
What we are going to do is have the Friends buy 3 books. They will destroy 2 of the books so that you have each page on either side. They're going to be laminated. The 3rd book is a backup, so if something is destroyed, we can go back and replace it. So each page will be laminated by the Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Then each page will be given to the Chagrin Falls mayor or whomever, and it will then be taken care of by them. We were willing to do the whole thing ourselves, so it would be no cost to the village, but if the village wants to take care of it after we laminate them, that's fine.
Yeah, we will take care of that for you. I will, you've got the contact to the mayor, so we will let you two coordinate.
We'll get that up right away as soon as we receive the lamination.
Well, so I do have a go-ahead, because we have not done anything because we were waiting for a go-ahead. So we will have to buy the 3 books and then laminate the pages.
Yes, you have a go-ahead. We'll get them erected.
And then where am I supposed to send these laminated pages to?
You can send them to Village Hall. We'll get them taken care of, either Rob Jamison or myself.
Okay, great.
Great, thank you.
And can I also give you instructions, like they have to be 40 feet apart? You know, in other words, people have to wander to find these pages.
Yeah, that's fine. That'll work.
Great, thank you so much. I am so appreciative because we're like one of the only villages in this whole area that has not done this.
Fantastic. It'll be a way to bring people into the community.
Yes, and into the parks to walk. Okay. And I'm hoping that we can change them out every 2 months so that people can see a different book every 2 months.
I'll let you coordinate those elements with the mayor. And I think Ann DeConing also maybe want to say something too. She's the president of the Friends, and then we'll go on to the next committee item.
Okay.
Can we unmute Ann?
Yep. Anne, I've asked you to unmute. Can you do a sound check?
Yeah, now I have.
Thank
Sorry. Actually, I'm secretary of the Friends. When we met last to talk about this, one of our members researched the expense for everything, including mounting the laminated pages on stakes like campaign signs. And we have factored in that cost so the village wouldn't have to pay for it. So we could actually give you the pages already mounted if you want.
That'd be helpful, Ann, because we're getting in a busy time of the year. It doesn't seem like it, but in a matter of a few weeks, we'll be leaf collecting and getting ready for winter. So any of that you could take off, and I would appreciate. And then perhaps you and I, or you and Rob, or somebody at the village could coordinate exactly where you want these to go.
Okay. We'll be happy to work with it.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Me too. Okay, next item. Planning and Zoning Commission.
Planning and Zoning Commission meets, let's see, Monday, September 21st at 8 o'clock. Council chambers, we've been reviewing the brick house development on Cleveland Street. That's the same one that got a couple variances from BZA, and there's more things that Planning and Zoning needs to approve.
Fantastic. Safety Committee. Hey, Andrew, you're on mute still.
I have no report besides the proposed legislation.
Thank you. Shade Tree Commission.
No report tonight.
Streets and Sidewalks.
No report tonight.
Utilities Committee.
No report tonight.
Look at that. Report of the Chief Administrative Officer.
Thank you, Madam President. Just one item tonight. We're having a pre-construction meeting tomorrow virtually for the 2020 road program, and the word is the contractor is excited to start quickly. So as soon as we have more information on the start time, I'll get that out to the general public and to all of council. I'll let you know the expectations of the start of the program.
Fantastic. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Report of the engineer.
Thank you, Madam President. Just an update on East Washington Street construction. Contractors kind of scrambling to get out of the high school block with the underground work. And it looks like they'll be out of the way, and they're mostly out of the way today. They're still patching some pavement and things like that. So they've actually moved down the hill. They'll be back in all areas to start lining the main sewer next week, so we're told. So they'll be back in all the areas, including the high school block, but hopefully the underground excavation work is complete.
Okay.
And that's my report.
And we are expecting them now to move to Cleveland down to Philomethian.
Correct.
And access to the post office is considered local traffic. So people will still be able to visit the illustrious
Yes.
post office.
Correct.
And then sidewalks, since there's a rumor that school is starting in some sort of fashion, we do have sidewalks, and for the most part, access is maintained for both kids and adults alike who are needing to walk them.
At least one side of the street at a time, and all hazards will be marked, and the crews on site are aware of the increased foot traffic. So we'll work out it day by day as we go along.
Angie, I see you.
Yeah, I have a finger. Can we make sure that, I don't know when the crosswalks will be impacted around the Philomethian Street, but can we make sure that whenever that happens, if it happens for a brief period of time, that we create another crosswalk there for the kids to cross for the temporary time? And we don't have to paint it or anything, but just mark out some place, because the crossing guards will be out there, and I assume we'll have to work under the crosswalk at some point. Correct or no? Yeah, somebody, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Good call. Thank you.
We'll work something out there, definitely.
Thank you.
Phones up.
And then Rob, we talked a little bit about Election Day. Can you just go over that?
Yes, access to the high school will be open in both directions. We talked to the project team today, and there'll be no problems with access to the high school driveway for Election Day.
Thank you.
In both directions.
So, all clear on all the things that happen when you close the busiest road in town. Okay. Anything else, Tim?
That's all.
Okay. Report of the police chief.
I was just going to give you guys a quick update on some training. Unfortunately, this year has been a pretty lackluster year for training. Obviously, with COVID, everything has been canceled. But we have scheduled all of our officers to attend over the starting tomorrow, but over the course of the next couple of weeks here, de-escalation training and duty to intervene training. Those are two things we kind of sought out on our own. There is some training coming. I mentioned this a while back. From Tri-C is trying to put together some training regarding like bias-based policing, and that'll involve some de-escalation stuff as well. But the lieutenant and I just, kind of talked and wanted to get a jump on this and be proactive. So we hope to get everybody through those two topics over the course of the next couple of weeks. And then when the Tri-C training becomes available, we'll pursue that as well.
Fantastic. What is duty to intervene training?
It talks about the legal responsibility of officers to intervene when they see like a use of force incident that they feel is excessive or unreasonable. They're obligated to try to intervene in that situation rather than stand by.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate your forward thinking and your reaching out to getting this stuff in place when it's so hard to schedule it. Because
there have been some good online courses that have come down the way. So,
anything else? Report of the fire chief.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a couple items. Corporation held its corporation meeting on August 13th, and we discussed the clam bake on October 3rd. And unfortunately, due to all the stuff going on with COVID, social distancing, we don't feel that we can cram 300 people in the apparatus bay. So the clam bake has been officially canceled.
Bummer.
Breaks my heart. It's would have been 70 years this year. So 70 years straight. And the other item that's probably on the chopping block is also the haunted fire station, which is on Halloween. Now, we haven't officially canceled it yet, but I can say with probably certainty it will be. So,
and council, we need to also go along with what we're going to do about Halloween, but we've got some time to make up our minds on that.
We figured we'd take your lead on that there, Mayor.
Oh, not to put any pressure on.
That's right.
I mean, I will say that.
That's what I get the big paycheck for, Frank.
Right, you get to cancel Christmas next.
Yeah.
Mayor's
maybe Angie will lend me Rob's
send the Grinch around to everyone's house.
I can put that on for our Zoom meeting and cancel Halloween.
So that's my report, Madam President.
Thanks, Frank. You've added the only humor to the night.
Right.
Okay. That's kind of a bummer of news. So next, we have members of the public to address council to any matter. I do believe we have some folks who are planning to address us tonight, and I see them on there.
I do. I know of Kathy and Mark Liddon would like to.
Hold on 1 second. So Chagrin Falls appreciates and values citizen comments during our meetings. The public section of our meeting limits each individual to 5 minutes. All comments should be directed to council. And then, yes, sorry, that's what I just needed to say. Full disclaimers all around, 5 minutes. Mr. Litton.
I will invite them to the meeting.
Thank you.
Just takes a moment to get online.
It's okay.
Kathy and Mark, you've been invited to the meeting. If you could start your video if you'd like, but also give a sound check.
Is there a screen sharing? Is that available? It is.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, we're gonna just get set up in that way and then get
Kathy and Mark, could you do a favor and state your first and last name and address for the record?
Yes, absolutely. It's Mark and Kathy Litton, and it's 61 Maple Street, Chagrin Falls.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Thank you very much for having us tonight. As I stated earlier, we're Mark and Kathy Litton, and we really appreciate the opportunity to address you. Special thanks to the mayor for talking to me graciously yesterday. We reside at 61 and have lived here since 1988, 32 years. Our property is 50 feet wide by 193 deep. In May of this year, our neighbors to the west installed a strobe light facing our kitchen and family room. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. The police were called and the strobe light was taken down. Within a week, a commercial advertising vehicle was installed on our property line. It's called Look Our Way. And what you're looking at here is the website, a picture of the website. This website declares, quote, "This is a great eye-catching tool to promote sales, Memorial Day, President's Day, events, parties, and holidays." This vehicle runs approximately 16 hours a day. Is there a night one? Okay. It can be seen and heard from our kitchen, family room, patio, and outdoor shower. And what you're looking at here is pictures from our kitchen window, our family room, and then we'll take you through the patio. This is the inside of the kitchen. Around the west side of our house. Through the family room. To the back patio. And around the corner, this is our outdoor shower, and it leads directly to the west side of our property.
Okay.
The noise decibels in this commercial vehicle are 86 dBs. Just as an example, a normal air conditioner produces 74 dBs. We are respectfully asking the village to review the situation as it applies to the ordinances and laws, to make a determination as to whether this is acceptable and normal in the village, or whether it constitutes harassment by our neighbors, deliberately placing a commercial advertising vehicle up against our house, knowing that it interferes with the use and the enjoyment of our property, both inside and out. Thank you very much. And if anyone has questions, we would be glad to answer them.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I really do feel for you. It's I think you're in a tough situation. Council itself, our job really, our role here really isn't reviewing laws as they pertain to specific disputes between neighbors. I know we certainly have some resources for independent mediators who may be able to help you work with your neighbor to find an amicable solution. But, you know, council can, you know, only do so much in this exact moment. I feel terrible for you though, at this juncture.
Just so that you know, we did try to work it out with our neighbors. And the response was crazy. One text message, and I'll just highlight it, said, "You have taken advantage of us in so many ways. We will continue to use our inflatable to scare away the birds as long as you continue to leave the feeder there. We are not being mean. We are just trying to keep our home free of bird poop and animals in our basement. You have not been exhibiting normal adult behavior, and it really needs to stop." That was from our neighbors, a text message. We washed their house down. We washed their driveway down. We suggested that they use the foam insulation that expands, because everybody that lives in the village has an older home and there are cracks and crevices that animals get into. We killed many, many chipmunks. We offered to give them a trap so they could do the same. We suggested that they put pellets in their basement and so on. And this was the response that we get.
Amber, do you have any guidance here? Or Rob, I see, Rob, you look like, Rob, go ahead.
Yes, I did. I was made aware of the complaint today. I know we've had some communication with either your neighbor or you in the previous weeks. I was in the process of learning about that today, and I'll be in touch with you here very shortly. We're reviewing this from obviously several angles. I spoke with Chief Dasik today about it, looking at it from a zoning issue as well as a criminal issue. And we're still continuing that review to see if there's anything here that is in violation of our village ordinances and laws.
Okay. So we will let you connect with Rob, and you guys can, once he has a chance to fully review, and you guys can connect and see what support can exist.
Okay.
Jan, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Jan, did you have something else you wanted to add? You okay?
Well, could not we send this to planning and zoning and ask them to review it?
Review what?
If there is anything that we can do in our
it's-
legislation.
It's a temporary structure or sign. I mean, it's a
temporary issue between two neighbors. I don't think we need to be looking at specific rules. I think we should try to work this out between officials in the village and the two residents.
I agree with
What do you consider temporary? It's been up for over 2 months.
The structure is temporary.
it's the same thing as any other movable object, political sign, right? Things like that. It's getting kind of tricky in that when you start saying, like, you can put a sign, you can put a temporary sign in your yard, leave it up as long as you want.
So comparing a sign to a lawn ornament or a decoration.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? Hold on a second.
Yes.
I think you're all speaking out of school here. And there's some issues that I'd rather you not just off the cuff get into here. I think it should not yet go to Planning and Zoning Commission. I believe that Rob and the chief and Harry should take a look at this. I'll be happy to give them my input. And then if we think it needs to go to Planning and Zoning, we should do so. But this clearly is not a council issue.
All right, thank you, Dale. I appreciate that.
Thanks for taking that up, Rob. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, do we have any other members of the public who wish to address council? You can use the raise your hand function, or you can type into the question and answer box, and we can also answer questions that way. Seeing none, on to miscellaneous. just as a public service announcement here, school starts soon. We have a soft, very weird under the pandemic, but just so council's all completely aware, there's a soft opening that begins next week. Sugar Falls is opening in a hybrid, so students will attend half days, which means we're looking at arrival both at the normal morning time and then a midday dismissal and arrival. Cuyahoga County kids are mostly coming in the morning. Geauga kids are pretty much all coming in the afternoon. So it's, you know, we're gonna have a little bit of like dancing with the traffic because obviously East Washington's under construction. The first week of full school in the hybrid model will be the week of the 31st. So just as a heads up. Okay. Another miscellaneous item. Does anybody have any other miscellaneous items? Because I've got a couple. Nope, okay. Dale brought to my attention a situation that has popped up. It is the first time in 20 years this has popped up, so this is a fun one. Currently, BZA does not have the power to hear all variance requests for the building code. They are able to hear some building code variances, but not all. They've only been designated or delegated a few sections which they can opine on. Other communities deal with this by having a separate board called the Board of Building Appeals. South Russell is a good example of a community that has this Board of Building Appeals. So if you have to get a variance from the building code, you go through the Board of Building Appeals, not through the BZA. We need some type of local, Dale, what's my word here? We need some type of local relief for this.
Yeah, we need to give them some due process.
Due process, thank you, sorry. So we could do this one of two ways. We could create a separate independent board called the Board of Building Appeals, and they would hear any appeals for variances to the building code, which would look just like BZA, but only do building code things. Now, Harry has not had this issue in 20 years. I'm gonna say that one more time. The alternative is we could authorize BZA to do some of this. We could authorize BZA to do this work. We could go even so far as to offer them a professional or expert construction consultant if and when they need them, similar to the way Julie Lindner supports planning and zoning. So there's, I think, some ways we could work within the BZA model. I did talk to Wade, and while he is one person, so he is not everybody, as he put the caveat on, he thinks that with that support, they'd be able to hear these types of appeals if we would like them to. And he runs a darn good meeting, so.
I think BZA would be perfectly adequate to handle it as long as we did have the correct access to things like a structural engineer or a building engineer. When it comes, you know, if we need, you know, information along that lines or to ask a question that is beyond, you know, Harry's knowledge. So that would be my only caveat with it.
So
I would add to that, Rocky, you might need input from the fire marshal too. For fire safety.
Except the fire marshal only does residential and single families. Once you have 3 families or commercial, then we get Mr. Finley involved. Look at that. So what I want to get from council is a sense of, are we comfortable having Dale draft something, allowing BZA to do this, or are we not? So that's why we're having this conversation.
I am as well. I think that creating a new board entirely for something that's only come up once in 20 years is a little bit of overkill if BZA has the resources to do it. I'm happy to hear somebody else's argument, but it just seems like...
I also think that if we haven't done this once in 20 years, we're going to put a board together and we're going to put people on it.
Right, and they're going to all move away.
Be careful of that. Yeah, no, I think that's the way to handle it. Ask the law director to write up an ordinance that would give BZA the authority to review building code questions and also including whatever assistance they would require.
And maybe want to include a caveat that states, you know, if we're hearing more than 12 of these a year or something, a separate board could be formed, you know, in case in the future we have, you know, onslaught of these. But I think if that's the case, we need to take a look at our building code.
I concur.
So verbose, sir. Jan, are you okay with BZA having this?
Yes, I think that's the appropriate way to go.
Mr. Wyville? Fantastic. Mr. Markowitz, could you please draft something allowing BZA to hear these building code appeals?
Sure, and I'll add references to a consultant. The other thing I'll do is there are some building code provisions that we already allow an appeal, but there's no standard. So I'll try and create a global provision for what standards the BZA is supposed to consider when they're hearing these appeals.
That would be helpful.
Yeah. That's
Fantastic.
always the first question Wade asks when we go to a meeting. And it's not a variance. What's the standard we're supposed to apply?
Okay, that was easy. Do we have any other miscellaneous items?
I do. Just as people are milling about and talking to people, please remind people to keep their sidewalks clear, trash cans out, vehicles not parked. As school goes back into session and we have lots of kids walking, it's kind of been a ongoing thing, you know. And when the snow falls, keep them shoveled, as much of a pain as that is.
Okay.
Easy to do. Anyone else? Okay, at this time, I would motion to go into executive session with all members of council, the mayor, the law director, the chief of police, the director of finance, and the chief administrative officer to discuss imminent litigation and legal claims with the law director. No action will be taken tonight. We will reconvene simply to adjourn. Motion by Grube. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Rocky. Roll call, please.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo.
Aye.
Okay, council, you have a separate link so you can.
Yeah, I have to go in first, so give me a minute before you go in, and then it'll let everybody in. And my office computer has been knocked out for the last 10 minutes, so we seem to have a power problem there. So hopefully this works.
Yeah, can we have a 5 minutes between the start of the executive session, Aaron?
Yes.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. I'm leaving.
This is Christy. If anyone has an issue getting on the executive session, feel free to call me. I can help you out.
Thanks.
So should we leave this meeting?
Yes, you should.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
But you beat me. Dang it, so fast.
Me?
Me?
No, Andrew, and yeah, we're okay.
Oh, my internet is
Andrew
on point these days.
Andrew was in there. I popped in and there he was in New Zealand.
I've got
Yeah.
400 meg internet now, and it's
Well, now we can all just wait and see who's last. Who's last? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you're in. Yeah. Jim's here. It's gonna be. We got Jan and Nancy. Let's
It'll
see.
be the mayor.
it's gonna be the mayor.
I'll be the mayor.
It's devolved to that, hasn't it?
We're just.
Bet on who comes in last.
I'm here. I'm here.
Well, we actually don't
Can
even need the mayor to adjourn.
No, we.
We don't. We just need council. That's
So
all.
I have to motion to, so I move to
You don't
return.
have Nancy. Do you have Nancy?
We need Jan and Nancy, but
We're not getting Jan back. Her phone just died.
What about
We just need
Nancy?
a quorum.
we have a
We just
quorum.
need a quorum.
No, if she has a right to be in attendance.
Oh, here she comes.
Nancy's on.
Okay, good.
I'm on YouTube. I have to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, okay.
You need a motion to adjourn.
No, we need Jan.
No, her phone died.
Oh, she's gone.
She's gone. She was, okay, so I
We don't need a motion to adjourn.
We're done, right?
don't I have to return, don't I have to motion to leave executive session,
Oh,
people?
yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
To, what's my word here?
To leave executive session and resume our
Motion,
And reconvene.
I motion to reconvene.
second.
Second.
Motion by Group, second by DiBernardo. Roll call, please.
Rube,
Aye.
Newell,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyville,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans.
She's got, sorry. At 9:04, I adjourn the meeting with this very punchy group. Thank you all for your
Hallelujah.
hours of companionship.
Good night.
Good night.
Aye.
See you guys later.